aren't the droids we're looking for.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's them! Blast them!
Alright guys, well we are just going to dive in to the updated points. Make sure that you check out our Empire Report Card series. We're making this video quickly because, as you know, on Monday we had an updated points update dropped. Very unexpected, but very welcome points update, and we just happened to release all of our Empire Report Card stuff on the exact same day. So go figure, that's what we get for trying to get ahead. So I'm going to kind of walk through some updated report cards for these. Now I will caveat this by saying I have not played any of these units yet, so this is my best guess and my best stab and my way too early predictions and way too early grades for these units. Let's dive in. We talked about Shore Troopers. If you watched our original report card for core units, we gave Shore Troopers a D+ the first time through. Now with the points update, the Shore Troopers, the unit themselves dropped from 52 to 46 points. The T-21 dropped from 32 to 28 points. And the squad dropped from 70 points to 52 points. Now, these are some pretty significant changes here. If you brought everything, that would be a 28 points drop. And these guys throw a lot of black dice. So just the mere fact of those points going down is definitely going to be a huge win for the Empire. They were a significantly more expensive cost. One of the tricks that I found myself doing recently is bringing a naked shore unit anytime I brought Callus, and also bringing an E-Web, because you can direct the Shore Troopers with Callus and then they coordinate an order to that E-Web. And I did not bring a mortar in that scenario, and so that kind of, if you're interested in doing that, that just got 6 points cheaper. I have not ran the T-21 or the squad in 2.6, but I am interested in it more now because of this new keyword called Dug In. Dug In is, if you haven't read about it yet, it is an upgrade that you can give to emplacement troopers or units with prepared positions. And if they are in allied territory and it does not have a face down order, it rolls red defense dice instead of white dice when rolling its cover pool, which is really, really good. And especially if you're going to be running with Callus and directing to these units, that could be really, really strong. I don't think that I would be keeping these guys within allied territory, but I definitely will be doing that with the E-Web. The other thing that's really cool that kind of changes the thought process on these Shore Troopers is the Imperial March upgrade. This says that that Empire units, when the Empire core units, when they take a second move action, they can increase their speed by 2, and you can also trash the card, or whatever that X symbol technically is called, to gain charge. Now, these Shore Troopers, they roll black dice in melee, so that could be really interesting. At the end of the day, they still are speed 1, so it's going to be probably turn 3 before you can do that. But in turn 2, you could still speed 1 move and then follow it up with a speed 2 move with this upgrade. Overall, I think at a minimum, these guys go from a D+ to a C+. I think there's definitely some interest now in taking a T-21 and a Shore Trooper squad, or maybe just the squad and the squad upgrade and not the heavy weapon. If you brought the squad upgrade, that's 9 black dice that you could get charged with. That seems pretty good, but you know, it's still that's a lot of points just for 9 black dice in charge. I think that they get a lot more interesting. They're still really aim hungry though. That's why they're kind of staying in that C tier rank for me. Moving on, the long awaited update to the Riot Troopers. Man, oh man, did they get a bunch of points updates. The unit themselves dropped from 50 to 44 points. The KX security droid dropped from 30 to 18 points. So total, that unit, the way you should be running it, dropped 18 points. That is big time, and I'm really excited for pairing it with Imperial March. Of course, they already have charge built in, so you can do a speed 2 and then a speed 3 move with the Riots. So I think instantly these guys are going to go up from an F to, I'm going to move them all the way up to a C. To be honest with you, that 18 points down is a big deal. You're looking at 62 points for the KX droids and the Riot squads. So that's really, really good for those guys. I think tenacity is also in consideration. We're going to talk about the Lat here in a little bit, but the Lat is a little bit better of a choice now, I think, with the door gunner upgrade. But now that you can maybe more feasibly take a Lat with these guys, I think that is going to bump them up to a C tier for me. I'm definitely going to get a double Lat, double Riot list on the table very soon. I think that between a Lat movement onto the table, there is potential for a turn 1 charge. And I'm really interested to see where those guys land moving on from here. Next, let's talk about the Stormtroopers. The Stormtrooper grade didn't change for me. They were at a C. I think that they're still at a C. The unit did not go down in cost, but the Stormtrooper squad upgrade went down by 6 points. I don't know that merits readjusting their grade. I also don't think that they benefit much from the Imperial March upgrade because they throw white dice in melee. They're already speed 2, so you don't really need to speed them up. For me, I think that these Stormtroopers are going to stay at a C ranking. Moving on to Snows, I think that the Snows also got a really good buff here with that steady keyword, pairing it with the Imperial March keyword. If you put recon intel on these guys, you could double speed 1 move and then a speed 2 move on turn 1 and have a really juicy shot. It would be really interesting to put a squad on these guys to get a lot of dice going. And then also in melee could be really interesting if you're running the Snowtrooper Flamethrower, because you could do a speed 1 move and then a speed 2 move and discard that card to get charged with that unit and get a really gross melee flamethrower attack going, and that could be really interesting on those Snowtroopers. Colton gave them a C. I'm going to bump them up just barely to a C plus because of this upgrade. They did not get a point adjustment, but I think with the addition of Imperial March, I think that is enough to bump them from a C to a C plus. Next, we've got our Death Troopers. Our Death Troopers went down by 6 points. Now, I have been running Death Troopers a lot in my lists. I really like having DT F-16 in my Death Trooper units with the suppressive gun. That combination gets them down to 81 points just with those 2 upgrades. You can put recon intel to make them a little bit more threatening turn 1 so you can get a speed 1 adjustment and maybe an aim shoot right off the bat. But otherwise, you could speed 1 and then speed 2 and then range 4 suppressive shot. I really like where those guys are at. I don't think any of the new upgrades really help them out at all. But Colton had them in a C plus, and I am going to again give them the same treatment as the Stormtrooper or as the Snowtroopers, and bump them up just barely to a B minus because of that 6 point reduction. Okay, and now we are going to move on to our Video 3 units with our support and heavy support units. There was only point updates to speeder bikes, but we got some really interesting upgrades that have kind of shifted the field for these guys, if you will. And so I'm going to give you some spoilers if you haven't seen those videos yet. We're going to start out with the E-Web. Now, I'm really excited about getting the E-Web on the table after these updates. I'm really excited for that dug-in upgrade on the E-Web because I definitely leave these guys in my friendly territory every time that I bring them. And now they're just going to be even stronger holding those back points for me as they are dug in and get those red cover saves. And I tend to have really good order control on them because I've been running Callus and a Naked Shore that gets me an order on that E-Web just about every time. Now, Colton gave these guys a C plus But again, because of that dug-in upgrade that we've talked about, I really think that these guys get a lot tankier. They shoot at range 4. You can kit them out to be suppressive or have impact. I think that the magic number might even be 2 now. I'm really interested to see where Blizzard Force is at coming up here really soon, potentially with some double E-Web, double bike. I don't know. There's lots of things I want to try for sure. Colton gave these guys a C+. I'm going to bump them up to a B, and that is really based on that dug-in upgrade and just that the fact that they're range 4 and can really do some work, especially if you give them link targeting array and you have a way to get them orders often, like I do with Callus and a Shore Trooper coordinate. That 5-point upgrade for an aim every turn is really, really strong. So I'm going to, again, bump them up to a B. The speeder bikes were the only ones who got a 10-point cut in the support units. Now, the speeder bikes also got a new upgrade made available to them called Strike and Fade. The units that have this, after this unit makes an attack action, you may tap this card. If you do, this unit makes a move action. This is really going to help those speeder bikes be able to get in, get a shot off turn 1, and potentially move to safety. So this upgrade is 5 points. So if you bring this upgrade, you net a 5-point drop from what they were at. This is going to make bikes a lot more playable, I think. The biggest thing with bikes is they just melt so fast. And I think that the fact now that you have a little bit more maneuverability with them, you can make an attack and then move out of the way. So you could shoot and really scoot turn 2. Maybe you want to save this for turn 2 to where you set up your shot, a big bike strike at the end of turn 1. And then turn 2 comes around, you aim, shoot, compulse out of there. Well, you aim, shoot, and then tap this to move, and then compulse from there. Gives you 2 moves in addition to an aim shoot that you could definitely, most likely, depending on the table, get those bikes to safety, try and keep them alive for that next turn. So I'm really interested to see how those play. Like I said earlier, I'm really interested to see a double E-Web, double bike Blizzard list. Because those to me just got a lot more interesting. I'm going to move the bikes from a C- up to a B. I'm really optimistic that the bikes are going to really benefit from this Strike and Fade upgrade. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. I'm going to update the Lat. The Lat, Colton gave it an F+. And for the record, I think that was merited on Monday before the points update. Well, more than a points update, we got new cards. And the reason that I'm going to move this grade on the Lat is twofold. The first reason is I think that Riots having a unit, this unit wants to transport things, right? This unit, we talked about the criteria at the beginning of these videos. Does this unit do what it needs to do? Does it do what it's designed to do? Does it do that thing well? And I think the Lat, ever since IRG died, you can't, and you can only transport core and special forces and no longer, you can't throw Vader or Palpatine in the Lat anymore. I think with all of those things, it took away the effectiveness of transport because you didn't want to bring Riots. But now that I think Riots are on the table for bringing, now that we're considering bringing them, I think that the Lat has checked that box. Like it's got something that we can maybe transport. Now, I will caveat this by saying if the Riots still aren't good, then the ranking will go down for the Lat. But assuming that Riots are kind of middle in the road, like I'm predicting now, I think that the Lat's going to get a bump up. The other thing that's going to make that grade bump up for me is the Door Gunner. After this unit makes an attack action during its activation, if it did not add this weapon to an attack pool during the attack activation, it may make a free attack action using only this weapon, even though it has already made an attack action. That is 2 black, 2 white, and depending on what other guns you take with the Lat, this could be really, really interesting because you could be throwing a lot of dice with that Lat. Now, I will say the Imperial Lat doesn't have surges, so those white dice are going to be those white dice hits and crits are going to be few and far between. But maybe, hey, maybe you'll get lucky. You know, there's probably a 2-hit average on this thing, but hey, 2 hits is a lot better now than it was in Old Legion. Also, I've been running lots of Krennic. I'm even considering Veers now. Now that I might have some Lats down on the table, mainly just to have an exemplar unit and lots of spotter to go around. I know that Veers plays nicest with ground vehicles, but hey, we're trying things. There is a lot out there. So, pairing the Door Gunner, pairing the fact that Riots may be a little more viable now, I think that the Lat is sitting at a C-. I wrote down a C. I think I'm gonna lean a little safer than sorry and say C-. We're passing, right? We're at least at the point, for me, it's like C- and up, like consider taking in your list if you want to be competitive. Anything below that, probably not. But yeah, I think the Lat is definitely on the Lat is definitely on the try it list for me, and I think it could be competitive potentially in the hands of the right pilot. So that's gonna wrap it for our updates. That's kind of my quick takes on this. I'm sure that I missed some things. I'd love to hear your comments below about what you're excited to try out now post points update here in June to Star Wars Legion. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us on our Patreon, there's links below. You can become a YouTube member, get early access to videos that hopefully won't be out of date the second we post them because of unexpected points updates. Thanks for watching this long, and we'll see you next time.